This first poem, all these poems are about connection, and I realised as I was trying to find a thread for this set that I think probably all poems are about connection, but it works as a thread, so we're going with it. This first poem is about love, and there are lots of different types of love. There's unrequited love, which is quite sad. There's the kind of love that happens between people who both love each other, and it's wonderful and beautiful. This is not this kind of poem. This is a poem about over-requited love. And it's called Bad Kisser. When we first met, I found you quite charming. But that impression began to cave in the first time that I let you kiss me and you licked me from forehead to chin. I knew that you weren't great with women. Now I finally understand why. Being able to suck on my tonsils is not something I want in a guy. I still feel the pang of revulsion when I think of your molars on mine. The clash of enamel connecting sends chills to the base of my spine. I know you were just keen to please me, but your technique was really bizarre. You formed a tight seal around my head holes. It's not supposed to be like CPR. In order to give you some feedback, please know that I'm not one to quibble. But we women don't like to be moistened with silvery trails of dribble. Not that it wasn't impressive, the incredible girth of your tongue, but the ravenous way that you wield it. You damn nearly punctured my lung. But now that you're gone, I feel lonely. Normal kisses just don't fill the space. Turns out that though I protested, I want you to suck on my face. I saw you gnawing the tonsils of some girl in the precinct by Iceland today, and I know for a fact that I've lost you, the bad kisser who slipped clean away. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now then. Cool, thank you. This next one's another silly one. Can't help myself. I used to have in my 20s a guilty pleasure of reading certain women's magazines, particularly one that rhymes with the words smosmosmolaton. You know, I don't think they can libel us with that. I think we're okay. Yes, so and those magazines always had these lists which were about how to please your man. And it was always very much centered on male pleasure, and the lists were 10 ways to please your man, 20 ways to please your man, 100 ways to please your man, 1,000 ways to please your man. So I've wrote a poem about it, and this is called 7 Ways to Please Your Man. 1. Film yourself doing something really naughty, like stealing your neighbour's newspaper off their front step, taking stationery from the office supplies cupboard at work, or nicking spanners from B&Q. Your man loves it when you don't pay for your tools. You naughty girl. 2, show him you are adventurous. Run out into oncoming traffic. Set up an amateur knife juggling club at your local further education college. Disappear for weeks on end without telling anyone where you are. Taunt a rabid dog. Your man will not be able to resist your devil-may-care attitude. 3, dress up for him. Try something a bit different and consider impersonating Franz Ferdinand Karl Ludwig Joseph Maria, the Archduke of Austria and Royal Prince of Hungary and Bohemia, whose assassination in 1914 led to the outbreak of the First World War. After all, men love powerful women. And the false mustache will bring some extrasensory pleasure to the bedroom too. 4, talk dirty to him. Tell him there are over 100 million microbes on your toothbrush and even more on the underside of your feet. Tell him that over 2.3 billion people across the world don't have access to a flushing toilet, and that even if they did, over 3 million bacteria per square inch lurk in the average toilet bowl. Tell him you think he's sexy, despite the fact that his body has 39 trillion bacteria living on it at any one time. Men love receiving compliments. 5, use your hands. Have a go at shadow puppetry. Popular shadows include the duck, the dog, and the butterfly. But if you want to get really kinky, why not try the robust alligator, the reluctant axolotl, or the engorged badger? Trust me, your man will thank you for it. 6, try a new position. Consider becoming a communist. After all, it pays to be open-minded when it comes to pleasing your man, and when you seize the means of production, he'll give you anything you want. 7, try new things. Never repeat yourself, never repeat yourself, never repeat yourself. Live up to unrealistic standards of heteronormative sexual gratification, read lists in shitty magazines and follow them as if they were gospel. Try new things. Never repeat yourself. Or you could just ask him. You could just ask him what he likes. For fuck's sake. Thank you. It's important that you're aware that in the printed version of that poem, fuck's sake does not appear. But I like to say it. Now, what you've gone and done, I'm afraid, is you've made me raise the topic of feminism. Sorry, it's happening. I read this really interesting précis to a study. I think the study was conducted in the 90s, so hopefully things have changed. But it was a study that was talking about women talking in business meetings and in business spaces. And the quote that really interested me was this: if women in mixed gender groups talk 15% of the time, 15, men perceive the gender contribution as equal. If women talk 30% of the time, they are perceived as dominating the discussion. I thought that was fascinating. So I've written a poem about it, and it's called Attack of the 50-Foot Woman. 1. She's crashing down the street, smashing buildings with her feet. There's no way to avoid her till her rampage is complete. She's arguing in meetings and insists on equal say. This woman takes up so much space, she just won't go away. Her voice shakes all the window panes. She won't be interrupted. A hysterical fanatic, she is womanhood corrupted. She's ruining society, and she won't compromise. She's a monster, and she's hideously sized. She's destroying all the structures, it's a loss we can't afford, and she's growing every minute, and she will not be ignored. She's giant and unsightly. She doesn't fit the form of girl. She's loud and mad and dangerous, and she's ruining the world. 2. Just how tall was she really, sir? Was she speaking up in meetings, taking credit for her own ideas, not backing down in an argument? Tall? Was she refusing your advances, not giving in to pressure, telling you exactly what she thinks of you? Tall? Was she walking without escort, campaigning for her rights, supporting other women? Tall? Was she refusing to be quiet, standing where she shouldn't be, removing herself from anger, tall? Was she too fat in public, too old in public, too young in public, too ugly in public, too pretty in public, too woman in public? Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure she was 50 foot tall? Or did she just make you feel small? Thank you. Thank you. And now we're on the tricky subject of politics. A piece of the pie. Look, everyone gets a piece of the pie. But some get more than others. It's only fair they were here first. Or if they weren't here first, then they paid more. Or if they didn't pay more, then they certainly looked like they could afford more, which is why they got more at no extra cost. I wouldn't expect you to understand it's complicated. Some people have asked for more but didn't get it, while other people could do with less and won't be persuaded to share. Some people have been coming here for years and think we owe them something. Some people can't read the menu, so those people get crumbs. Some people don't realize that some people have already eaten. Some people have already eaten but still feel the gnawing hunger. Some people haven't eaten for days. Everyone gets a piece of the pie, but some people are never satisfied. Some people have been stealing food. Someone is always stealing something. Some slices look bigger than others because some slices are bigger than others. Everyone gets a piece of the pie, except those who get nothing. And we don't mention those who get nothing in case they take a piece of our pie. Sure, some people get more pie than others, but some people have more luck than others. Some people get more pie than others, and some people get crumbs. It's a good thing it's only pie, isn't it? It's a good thing it's not our lives, isn't it? It's a good thing it's not our world, isn't it? It's a good thing it's only pie. Thank you. Thank you. This next one is really super duper new, and I don't quite know if it works yet. But I'm one of these people who gets real stuck in a rut and is like, oh, I'm just going to do the same 5 poems that I know work every time. So I'm challenging myself to do new stuff, and if it doesn't work, come tell me afterwards and be like, you know, that poem. And that'll be fine. That's all I need. I don't need any further critique. Thank you. It's been a rough couple of years. But yes, no existential breakdowns here. Yes, so this poem is inspired by our dear leaders in control of the country as it stands at the moment. And it's called Bastard Lessons. Thank you, Sue. I haven't even heard it yet. Bastard lessons. I'm taking bastard lessons to improve my lot in life. I want to stay competitive now bastardry is rife. The bastard lesson advert mentioned all the dough I'd earn. I wasn't born a bastard, but I'm hoping that I'll learn. I've got my bastard notebook, and I've read the rule book twice. I've memorised the tenets of corruption, greed and vice. The bastards promised knowledge, but the course is going slowly. And after all the programme fees, I think the bastards owe me. The work is marked and weighted on a sliding scale of pay. It's 10 grand for an A, I'm told it's just the bastard's way. The scoring's inconsistent, but you can't complain, it's tough. The passing grade shifts every day, those bastards know their stuff. The textbooks are expensive and the pages are messed up. Some chapters are redacted, oh, those bastards stitched me up. So I bribed the bastard tutor and I stole the answer sheet and I passed the bastard fitness test with someone else's we. I sacked off all my duties and forgot to call my mum. Turns out my hidden bastard was inside me all along. Now I'm giving bastard lessons for a reasonable fee. So sign up now, just $599.99 plus VAT. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And so we move into the more serious part of the set. Maybe 6 months ago, I donated a bespoke poem to a raffle for charity, and then when somebody won, I had to write a poem for her. That's the tricky part there. But the lovely lady who won the raffle didn't want a poem for herself. She was a midwife, a midwifery coordinator at City Hospital, I think, and she wanted a poem that spoke to the incredibly hard work that midwives have done and continue to do and did all throughout the pandemic in the most difficult circumstances. And so I wrote them this, and it's called For Everything. For every single task performed, the hours spent in uniform, for every time you could have sworn and every healthy baby born, for every soul you've helped to mourn, thank you. For everything that you've achieved and every hand you've gently squeezed, for every awful pain you've eased and every doubt that you've relieved, for every breath you've helped to breathe, thank you. For every belly stretched and shrunk and every birthing myth debunked, for all the blood and sweat and gunk and every cup of coffee drunk, for every single biscuit dunked, thank you. For every hour and countless years you've laboured in this fine career, and every time you held back tears, kept calm and calmed a parent's fears. For every gesture born of care, thank you. For every miracle devised and every danger neutralised, for each new radiant surprise and happy tears in sparkling eyes, for feats of strength unrecognised, thank you. Thank you so much. And writing that poem and thinking about those experiences brought up some other feelings. So this poem is called Strawberry Jam. It has a content note for pregnancy loss and miscarriage. So if that is something that you are not up for hearing at the moment, please do feel free to step outside. You're not going to offend me at all. Look after yourself. Strawberry Jam. Again, after weeks of waiting, these clenched fist cramps signal failure. Thick clots caught on cotton, red as dashed hopes. Another nameless Eden razed to the ground. The ancient Greeks believed that all wombs wander, restless and untethered, until weighted down with skimmed stones or bullet holes or seeds planted in fresh soil. Nothing seems to grow here, only blood and rust. Still, there are jars of jam in the pantry, flowers on the mantel. Summer isn't over yet. Things could always be worse. There are no pain receptors in the brain, which means each tiny shadow wanders, getting lodged in my throat, manifesting as fists twisting wistfully with each new moon. Another month, another almost stained red. Soon, I will run out of strawberry jam, switch to something more bitter, as empty glass jars linger in cupboards, unlabeled, unused. Thank you. Thank you. We're just going to do one more sad poem, and then we're going to switch to something a little bit lighter. This poem is A Golden Shovel. Can anybody tell me, oh, this is my Year 9 teacher voice, can anybody tell me what a golden shovel is? I mean, yes, but also not in this context, but good try, well done. Sue, would you like to answer for the class? I'll do it. It is, absolutely. So a golden shovel is a type of constrained piece of poetry, and the idea is that you use a line of existing poetry or writing, and you take the words from each of the words in that line, and you use them as the end word for each of your own lines. Did I make that make sense? Not really. Well, let's see how we go. Anyway. Oh, let's push the telly in. We'll push the telly in. We'll watch some documentaries. Shush here. We were doing well. Okay. So this Golden Shovel has a line, a whole poem actually, by Mary Oliver. And the poem goes like this. Someone I loved once gave me a box full of darkness. It took me years to understand that this too was a gift. Mary Oliver, fucking excellent. If you don't know about Mary Oliver, you should go and get hold of her collection forthwith. Anyway, so this is a poem that uses those lines, and it's sort of about my granddad and about his dementia. It's called Becalmed. I wanted to be the kind of someone who could always fix things. I clung to my competency like hull-side barnacles. To be loved, you must be good enough. And I was, once. Back when the sight of the sea still gave me chills. Now, I don't know what will become of me. I am a storm-sunk schooner, rigging unravelling. I am a boatyard ransacked by vandals, and I can't find the box where I stored my secrets. I am so full of nothings, regretful, ghostly half-recollections, fearful of everything I can no longer do. Forgetting is a kind of darkness, a mist that thickens slowly by degrees. It is so much harder to navigate when the stars are extinguished. It took so long to realize what was happening to me. On journeys between the kettle and the sofa, years passed. Now, I am left alone to make catalogues of the missing parts. Understand this. There is no way that I can know what is absent. The blank space is this unmarked page in a logbook, a fog too heavy to ever lift again. If I were still a sailing man, then maybe I could endure this forecast as a storm passing. But today, it feels more like penance than a gift. Thank you. Oh. Okay. Thank you so much. Two more from me, a bit more hopeful, a bit more cheerful to end us up on. But thank you so much for listening, and thank you for being at the Poetry Festival. And I know that there are more brochures around, some over there. Please do take a brochure with you and find out if there are any more lovely poetry things that you would like to engage with and get involved with. There's so much going on between now and Sunday, so loads of stuff to look forward to. This next poem is a poem about hope. I think especially in the times that we're living in, hope is a radical act and something that we all really need. And I know that it's not easy, but I think that, you know, it's important. This is also, she said, showing off, a line palindrome poem, which basically means that it's a poem where you read it one way and it makes sense in one context, and then hopefully read it the opposite way round and it says something slightly different. We'll see. This is called Humanity. This is humanity. Sit back and let everything fall apart. It is ridiculous to assume we would want to help people we don't even know. We will go out of our way to seal ourselves off from our problems. We will never think about others before ourselves. We can't comprehend the future, so we've stopped trying. We can't imagine a world where there is hope. There is hope. We can't imagine a world where we've stopped trying. We can't comprehend the future, so think about others before ourselves. We will never seal ourselves off from our problems. We will go out of our way to help people we don't even know. It is ridiculous to assume we would want to sit back and let everything fall apart. This is humanity. Lovely stuff. Thank you so much for listening to me. My name is Leanne Moden. I am a poet in these here regions of Nottingham. I'm not originally from Nottingham. You can tell by the way I say dance. But, you know, this is such a lovely city that people come from miles around, even from the south. But yes, I'm doing a couple more things at the Poetry Festival. Wednesday night, I am doing a work in progress version of a show that I'm putting together. So it's an hour of poetry and storytelling, and it's about music and belonging and accidentally becoming a teenage goth in rural Norfolk in 2002. Bit niche, but you know, I think it'll be fun. So if you would like to come along to that, I would love to see you there. It's 7 o'clock at the old coal store, and it's poets telling tales. But I'm going to read you my last poem. Is from that show, and I'm going to see, we'll see. Sometimes I know this off by heart and sometimes I don't, so we'll see how we go. This is about music, connection, belonging, and it's called Brixton 2030. So, we're finally here. It's me and Claire, and we're standing there 10 feet from the stage. Knee deep in teenage memories, those killer melodies from the CDs, and I can see the burst capillaries on the bass player's face. We're that close to the stage. And the people around us are too cool to dance. But this is the chance we've waited all year for. And we won't shed a tear for the pain in the past, because no matter what they say, the bad things never last. All the lies cast in stone, they'll shatter soon, my friend. And if the outcome's not a good one, then it's just not quite the end. We pretend we're all right as we fall through our lives, but the speakers are screaming, it's fine not to be fine. Trust the music tonight, because you know every line. And we're lost in the crowd and the feelings sublime. See, we've crossed every bridge, and we paid every toll, and we felt like we spent all the gold in our souls till we came here tonight. Pushed those feelings aside, taking breaks from the aching of everyday lives. And the knives in our backs are worked loose by the sound of the music that echoes from ceiling to ground. We feel like we found a new place to belong, among brothers and sisters and familiar songs. It took us so long to find ourselves here in this throng of believers clutching overpriced beer. Everyone in this crowd says this music saved them. They're speaking these lyrics, reeling tunes off verbatim. This poetry flows with each kick of the bass drum as we lift our heads up, swept away by momentum. Because we're lost in this crowd. We're shouting so loud, and the words that we're singing to us, they're profound. See, we're proud of this band, and we're proud to be fans, and as bridge swells to chorus, we raise up our hands. And it's not quite religion, but by God, it's close. Because these songs helped us out when we needed them most. See, the rhythms like blankets have cushioned our heads from the heartbreak and sorrow and hospital beds. We lost it all once, now we've found it again among like-minded women and good-humoured men. We were stung by rejection, depression and fear, but tonight, the crowd's voices are all we can hear. And we know that we've made it. We're still standing here. This homemade congregation, me and Claire. Thank you so much for listening.